For coffee enthusiasts, Intense Cafe is an absolute must-have, so let's review it now. Hey, what's going on? Hunter here and welcome back to my channel where I upload weekly fragrance content. So of course you already know, hit the subscribe button down below and also make sure to follow me over on my Instagram page. But today we are reviewing one of, if not the most popular fragrance from the house of Montale. I recently just acquired a bottle. This is something I've wanted since I actually pretty much began my journey and never really got around to getting it until recently, and I'm so happy I did. So let's go over some information. Now, this was actually launched all the way back in 2013, so it has been around for quite some time now. As far as the retail price on the 100 ml, like you see I have in hand, is gonna run you $170, but that is retail. Montale's, of course, can be found pretty discounted on discount websites, etc. So look around if you are in the market. Concentration for this one is an eau de parfum. I know Montale did launch an extrait de parfum sort of flanker to this called Ristretto Intense Cafe, which I've never smelled, but I do have, of course, the original. As far as the perfumer goes, and the perfumer for the entire brand of Montale, and even Mancera, since that is their sister company, is the man himself, Pierre Montale, has a huge resume. Now, with all that information out of the way, let's look at the packaging and presentation you're gonna get with Intense Cafe now. All right, take a look at the box. Of course, it comes in this gold style signature Montale Paris box. Intense Cafe, eau de parfum in purple, and that sticker, 100 ml bottle, nothing on the sides. On the back, you do have your information as far as some ingredients, and these are made in France. And on the bottom of the box, some more information as well as your batch code to authenticate your product and see when it was produced. And when you open up the box, every single Montale purchase actually comes with a nice Montale pouch right here where you can actually put your bottle in if you're traveling and don't want to be in sunlight or whatever. So that is a very nice, luxurious touch. So take a look at the bottle. Of course, if you've seen one Montale, you basically have seen them all. It's very, very iconic. This one happens to be in a plum purplish kind of colorway with the sticker Intense Cafe. On the bottom, you have your sticker as well with your batch code. Nothing on the back. And then, of course, this looks a little bit different than a traditional bottle because it has this pull-out mechanism that allows you to spray it because there is no cap. So you pretty much have to put that in place, especially if you're traveling so it doesn't accidentally spray. But I also have to tell you, when you get a bottle of Montale, these are extremely light because this isn't glass. I believe it's like an aluminum or something like that. So don't be scared that either your bottle is leaked or it's not full, because it is. It's just a very, very lightweight bottle. In the top, you have floral notes. In the mid, you have rose and coffee. And in the base, you have vanilla, white musk, and amber. And this will be classified as a sweet gourmand. So let's spray Intense Cafe and test out these atomizers. Actually, I spray pretty decently. A lot of times Montale atomizers are not the best. So let's go to remind myself of this coffee beauty right here. So right away, when you first spray Intense Cafe, you're gonna be basically blasted with a very dark, slightly powdery rose note. If you're not really a fan of rose, don't necessarily let that persuade you from trying this one because it's not your kind of traditional like old woman sort of rose by any means. It's a very dark powdery rose is how I would basically describe it. Very red as well, not like a pink kind of very overly feminine rose. Actually, probably one of the darkest roses I have smelled in a fragrance, or at least one of the darkest ways a rose can be included in a fragrance would be a better way to explain it. Once you get your way into the mid, which comes extremely quickly because you're gonna be greeted with, of course, this very roasty kind of coffee bean note. It doesn't sound like it works good alongside rose, but for some reason, it's a perfect combination with those two. So the rose isn't going anywhere anytime soon once you make your way into the mid. It's basically the coffee and the rose blended perfectly. And it's your typical kind of coffee smell. Just imagine having a bag full of coffee beans and you just put it up to your face and get that beautiful coffee bean aroma with some rose petals mixed in. It's literally any coffee lover's dream in a fragrance, to be honest. I mean, literally, just skip the coffee drinking in the morning and spray this on, and you're gonna get that coffee caffeine fix. That's how like authentic that coffee note actually comes across in here. Then finally, in the base of Intense Cafe is where it does take a sort of a turn to the entire composition. You're no longer just gonna get that blasted kind of roasted coffee note. It kind of mixes in with the vanilla. I'm not getting any amber, I'm not getting any musk. It's basically just rose, coffee, and vanilla, which makes it very lactonic and creamy. It sort of smells more like a coffee latte is how I would basically describe this fragrance. Just imagine the smell of this powdery red rose, this roasted coffee bean, and vanilla all kind of combined together. That's exactly what Intense Cafe smells like. It's not necessarily the most complex DNA. It doesn't change a whole lot. There's not a lot going on. Just mostly those three primary notes. It just smells like a creamy latte to my nose. And I heard Ristretto Intense Cafe has more of that kind of dark coffee note rather than being creamy and lactonic like this one is. But I actually really enjoy the way this one develops into the base when it includes that vanilla. If you're looking for a fragrance that kind of captures that vibe of a creamy latte, this is for you, no doubt. So for the best seasons to wear Intense Cafe, I primarily would wear this one in the spring and the fall and winter. Of course, the spring, it can work perfectly because of the rose and the floral notes, etc. But also, of course, in the fall and winter because of that coffee note, the vanilla being very kind of oriental as well. Just works perfectly in the colder weather. Not necessarily the summertime. Of course, there's no aquatic notes, there's no citrus notes, nothing like that. Primarily spring, fall, and winter, and you'll be set. Now for occasion, I would think out of the two being rather casual or formal, I think this definitely leans more on the formal side of things. At least where I would wear it is more of a formal situation. Even though you could still wear this, of course, casually if you're going to maybe a coffee shop or just hanging out with friends, etc. It definitely could work for that, of course, but there's something a little bit more kind of dressed up, formal nature about it where I could see this one absolutely shining very well if you're dressed up in either a suit or a tux or just even a button up, or if you're a woman watching this one, either like a dress or something along those lines. I think this works beautifully. Now for gender for Intense Cafe, I believe all of Montale fragrances are targeted as unisex. Of course, some of them lean more masculine, some of them lean more feminine. This one though actually is right down the middle unisex, even though some people could say this one is unisex, leaning slightly more feminine because of the rose, but I could see a woman wearing this one absolutely beautifully on her, and I can see a guy wearing it as well perfectly. So if you're a woman watching this one, you're a man watching this one, this is targeted to both of you. And if you're actually in a relationship and you buy this fragrance, both you and your partner can wear this one easily. But for age groups, I believe this one does lean slightly more mature, because when you think of rose, of course you think of like old lady, even though this one doesn't really necessarily go in that direction, but it still does have that prominent rose note, of course. There's no getting away from that. And of course the coffee notes, etc. being oriental. It does lean more on the mature side, even though I could see this one being pulled off as youthful as well, because it sort of does have a sweet undertone from the vanilla. The vanilla definitely goes into a sweet direction rather than like a spicy direction. So at the end of the day, both a youthful person can wear this one as well as a mature person. So I think it would probably work best in either like your early 20s, you can wear this one easily, as well as if you're in your 30s, 40s and up. It's very versatile when it comes to that. Especially if you are younger and you are mature and you want to smell more mature rather than youthful, perfect for you. Wrapping things off on the performance of Intense Cafe. Of course, at least for me, when I think of Montale, I think of beast mode, powerhouse, nuclear fragrance, and most of the times that is the case. Now, I will be honest with you, I think this is of course a newer batch. When I first bought this and I wore it for the first time, I was like, it doesn't seem to really be performing as I was expecting it to be. But I believe I was just going nose blind, because the first time I wore this one, I got a compliment on it 10 hours after application. And then when I further test this one, I got easily around 12 hours of very good longevity, probably even pushing the 12+ hour mark. So when it comes to longevity, it is there. Now for the projection as well, this stuff projected heavy. I mean, like very very heavy, like crowd filling. And that probably explains why I went nose blind to it so quickly, because it was just like overwhelming my nose, where my nose just blocked it off entirely to pick up on other smells that could be dangerous. And that's why we go nose blind to fragrances a lot of the times. So yeah, when it comes to the performance of Intense Cafe, even the newer batches, this stuff is still nuclear. I mean, you're gonna smell like a coffee latte for 12 hours when you apply this stuff. I could only imagine how strong Ristroto Intense Cafe is being in a straight de parfum. I believe it's sort of the same thing, because I do have Intense Black Oud, which is much stronger than the original Black Oud. That's probably the same case, even though Black Oud is a beast mode in the original form. This one is no different. Very, very potent and strong. So when you purchase this one, just be careful, because you probably will go nose blind to it, and everybody around you is going to smell you. So just keep that in your mind. But that's going to do it for my review of the very popular Intense Cafe. And of course, per usual, leave a comment down below your thoughts on this beauty right here. Besides that though, leave a like, subscribe below if you haven't already. And of course, you already know, I'll catch all of you back here in my next upload. Take care, everybody.